Here we have our two most important pieces of equipment. A mold, which is a frame stretched in nylon mesh. A second frame, which is exactly the same size, which fits on top. This is called a decal. Our mold and decal work together with thumbs on top and fingers underneath and hold them firmly as you go into the water. Inside each one of these 4 vats are different recipes that we've been working on over the course of the weekend. And the recipes are constantly changing. I've recycled origami paper from yesterday, which has gone into some of the vats. And I'm going to be adding some new ingredients in just a second. Next to me, that vat was made using daffodil flowers from my garden, which I brought with me. So that one's got a nice yellow stain to it. This one, I turned pink using origami paper and my base white pulp. Every time that you'll go, you need to put a little bit of pulp into the vat. Open your fingers out, put your hand on the bottom of the vat and churn the water. Can you see the churning motion? That's helping to distribute the fibers from the pulp which I put in so that there's no lumps. It doesn't do any good just going around in circles. We've got to get the fibers distributed. This one already has some cotton threads in it. Can you see them floating in there? I'm a bit tired of that recipe now, and the cotton threads are beginning to run out a bit. So I have prepared for you some green merino wool, both in its fleece state as well as spun wool, yarn. So I'm going to put some of this in as an additive. I can't make paper just with this. It's protein based, and if I try to make paper with wool, it will turn to fleece. But as long as I mix in the right amount so that the cellulose from my pulp, which is plant material, mixes with the wool, the cellulose will capture the wool and it will make a very nice decorative effect. And the vat is going to go slightly towards beigey brown as the green and the pink start to mix. So this is how I make recipes. And let's see if the character of it is beginning to change. So you can start to see some of the wool yarn show up. This paper comes into its own when you look at it at its dry state. You don't really see the merino wool until it's dry. But just a little bit more of it. So, ready to start. Hold your mold and decal firmly. Enter the vat at a slight angle. Go down to the bottom. Lift up quickly to capture the fibers and let it drain. This process takes approximately 10 seconds. When you hear the drips stop, you're going to take the decal off. But being beginners and having not done this before, you could use a little bit of assistance from your team members. Mick has been nominated as my team member. If you could step forward, Mick. If you could just put your hands underneath the frame and cradle it for me so that I can take the decal off. If I didn't have somebody holding it, I might drop a lot back into the vat. So carefully peel the decal off. That goes back in the water. And if Mick can just hold it now, I'm going to do something quite important. I'm going to take a soft sponge and press it underneath the screen, and this is going to help to flatten the pulp. As I soak the water out, you may notice the surface is not so shiny now, and it starts to go matte. That's an indication that the fibers that are in my paper are now beginning to stick together. Thank you, Mick. And I can now handle it without mishap, okay? Just be gentle with it. It's still about 70% liquid in this stage. You're now going to go over to the couching table, which is a curved mound covered with a cloth. I'm going to line the edge of my frame up with my registration bar, just there. Right hand on top, left hand underneath the frame, and I'm going to show it to you. Can you see how my hands are positioned on the frame? That's an important thing because we need both hands in position so that when we couch, we press down, roll, and lift with the left hand. And there's the paper. As I said, it was going to go a little bit beigey colored, and there you can start to see some of the wool coming out. Your name tag goes there. Fold back the registration bar carefully. The Misetta is going to hold the bottom of the cloth, pull it taut, come over to the couching table. table and help me to lower it down. If you have someone help you to do that, your cloth goes on without wrinkles or folds in it. So this is where the teamwork comes in. Everyone help one another to do these little jobs. If there are any wrinkles or bubbles in it, like I've got just there, just gently pull the cloth out sideways. The next person in your group, they put some pulp in, they form, they cooch, until each one of the 3 members in your group has made a little pile of papers. These are then going to be transferred over to the press with everyone involved. So we're going to take all of the papers from each one of the cooching papers and press them together. Once the first pressing comes out, you'll learn how to finish the process, which is called laying, but we'll leave that for a little bit later. What I want you to do to start with is to arrive at one of these 4 vats with your little name tag in hand, 3 people to a vat, and let's make paper. This morning, Mark went round, collected up all the leftover bits of origami paper that were sitting around on tables in the convention. And I brought them in here to the processing room. And one of my friends, Jens Bowles, came and he sorted out the papers into different colors so that these can then be put into the liquidizer, ready to make a new batch of pulp. And we literally just put it in the liquidizer. It's usually a good idea for me to soak these in advance. I prefer to do it overnight so that the paper can become softer. So when this goes into the liquidizer for the first time, it does make a bit of a clatter. Let me just show you what happens. So you can see now most of the paper's been chopped up, but there's still some big bits in there. I prefer to get rid of them now, so I'm going to run the liquidizer for another 20 seconds to render it down to pulp. And here we've got some recycled origami paper. Still a bit rough. Needs another 10 seconds, but it'll do the job.
How lovely to actually make this. This is a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Now I'm going to hand you your handmade paper, which will be stuck to the cloth. You're going to very carefully carry your cloth round to the different stations so that you can lay it. Your newspaper is just in position on the edge of the table. Carefully touch the cloth to the edge of the table and roll your paper down onto the newspaper. Lean over it so that you can find that edge. Can you see it there? And I want you to find the upper right-hand corner. If you're left-handed, find the upper left-hand corner. Using your thumb or your forefinger, I carefully want you to push the new pulp down onto the newspaper, releasing it from the curve of the cloth. Gently push it down till you get over to the other side. Can you see now how it's been released? Fold the cloth flat on the table, gently make a roll, and continue now to roll your cloth down to the bottom of the new paper. All the while, you must remember to look on both sides of the decal edge of your paper to make sure that it's not snagging on the cloth. If it is, just tease it off. Don't be frightened of touching the pulp. There it is. Make sure your name tag is on it. Cover it with a second piece of newspaper and put it into your folder, ready for transport.
Really interesting. I've learned about how you colour the paper, I've learned about the different things that you can use to put texture to it, and the process of how it's made.
Yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I much prefer it to paper folding.